Shavasana, an easy seat, inviting some ease into the body, whatever that means for you. So if you're sitting, your sit bones atop of the blanket or the folded towel, it just offers a lift into the body so that the hip flexors can soften a little bit and the spine can find a little bit more length. So once you arrive in your space, and maybe it takes just a little wiggling and jiggling, a little adjusting, then begin to settle. And I like to bring in the metaphor of a snow globe, how throughout our day, and maybe you wake up this way, your mind is filled with lots of little thoughts and your body is filled with a lot of energy of feeling. And once we arrive on our mat, it's sort of like putting that snow globe down, and you can just feel the rooting down through the sit bones and feel all of the settlement, as those little tiny particles, the thoughts, the experiences, the memories start to just settle down into your hips and into the ground with you. And when we find that settling, you notice just like a slow snow globe, there is a lot of space. There's a lot of emptiness. And you can think of it more as clarity rather than vacuousness. So as you settle into your seat, if you haven't already closed the eyes, if you're comfortable doing so, bring the lids to gently blanket the eyeballs. If you are more comfortable with the eyes open, welcome a soft gaze down the bridge of your nose to something unmoving on the earth. So today is all about creating space. We're going to do a breath exercise in just a moment that helps us to find space between the inhales and exhales. We'll take some moments between our sequences to find some space to reflect on how the practice feels in our body. Just know that it's common to tighten around your discomfort. Whenever we're struggling or feeling suffering, we tend to get tense. It's our body's natural reactivity to that stress, that fight, flight, or freeze mechanism of our sympathetic nervous system. And so I invite you today to just notice, instead of inviting tightness and tension and pain around the suffering, can you invite some ease? Can you invite some space to welcome whatever it is in and allow it to be there? So I invite you to make some space for your emotions by offering a few phrases of compassion. Here are a few that you may want to try out for size today. You are welcome here. There is space for you. May I welcome you with compassion. You are welcome here. There is space for you. May I welcome you with compassion. So let's begin to create some space by doing a breath exercise called a square breath. And as you continue to root down through the sit bones and lift the spine nice and tall, shining through the crown of the head, and you soften into the jaw, soften into the shoulders, creating some space within the torso to invite a really deep, rich, nourishing breath. And we begin our practice of square breathing by first bringing a visual to mind of a square. And you begin to draw the square in your mind's eye using any color that appeals to you, drawing up from the bottom left corner to the top left corner, then drawing across to the top right corner, down to the bottom right corner, and closing the square, traveling back to the bottom left. Up the left side, across the top, down the right side, closing. And you can think of this square as a frame for your practice, creating some context, creating some purpose. And you may start to notice as we practice the square breathing that your square turns into more of a rectangle, and that's okay. And I've had some yogis practice this and their square becomes sort of morphs more into a triangle, either inverted or upright, and that is okay. Because we're going to begin to coordinate our breath with the image of the sides of the square. And it's going to involve an inhale up the left side, holding the breath across the top, exhaling down the right side, and holding the breath again at the bottom. And those holds are where you find the magic, because those holds create a space in which you don't have to do a thing. You simply get to be. That is the essence of our existence in those holds. But also know that if you've ever suffered any breath trauma, or you find extreme discomfort and it's distracting you in those holds, then you can just breathe in and out at a cadence that serves you best. Or you may find that it's comfortable holding the breath at the top or just holding the breath at the bottom. So really allow this practice to serve you best. So as we continue to root down and we have that image of the square in our mind, we're going to take one shared breath together. Inhale. Open the mouth and let it all go. Feel the lips and begin to inhale up the left side. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold it across the top. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale down the right side. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold at the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, left side. 1, 2, 3, 4. Feel the fullness and hold it for 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale down the right. 4, 3, 2, 1. Empty out completely and hold for 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale up. Hold across. Exhale down. Hold to close. Inhale up. Hold across. Exhale down. Hold to close. 2 rounds of square breathing on your own. Begin to let the breath resume its natural pattern. Start to let the image of the square dissolve from your mind. And as you sit, honoring the benefits of that breath practice, I'm going to read to you just a little excerpt from a passage called The Space Between Breaths. Stop each day for a few moments and give yourself the gift of just breathing and hanging out in this amazing space. It is a quick and clean de-stressor right when you need it. It will calm your nervous system and restore a sense of peace and well-being. Space in between is what gives everything needed pause and meaning. Of all the keys on the keyboard, it's the space key we use most. Without it, letters, words, and sentences would all run together. Our minds couldn't process what's written and we would be lost. If you've ever been involved in web design, you know that maintaining white space is crucial. Clutter is the killer to order as well as creativity, just as going nonstop eventually diminishes our returns and can wipe us out. This space between breaths can quickly lead you into profound new awareness. It is a lovely place, which we rarely, if ever, notice or visit. It is the ground of all being, from which everything arises and falls. Every thought, every action, every behavior, every event. You may find yourself starting to live more and more in that special space, rather than getting so caught up in the usual din of daily life. In this special magical space, you notice thoughts and emotions passing through, simply coming and going as you maintain your ground. This empty, yet very rich space between breaths has always been there, and it always will be. So as we honor the space between today, let it begin through awareness of the breath. Let it melt in awareness of the pauses as we're holding shapes. And then let it transcend your mat. Let it transcend your on-the-mat yoga practice and let it filter out into your life where you can create space. We don't have to be so busy all the time. Our snow globe doesn't always have to be a flutter with activity and doing. We can simply let everything settle and honor being. Take a big breath in. Let a breath go. Bring both hands to your heart as you connect with your intention for today's practice. I will repeat those phrases of creating space. Perhaps one of them speaks to you. Inviting whatever arises, you are welcome here. There is space for you. May I welcome you with compassion. Repeat your intention a few times. Take a big breath in. Exhale, sigh it out. Find a cleansing. 2 more big community breaths like that. Inhale. Exhale. Last one, biggest breath yet. And let it all go. Beautiful. We're going to start to float into our hands and knees, coming into a table shape. You're welcome to take that blanket if you want and use it to root under your knees if your knees need to find a little softness and comfort. Once you find your table position, take a moment to just measure out your space. Kat just did something which I thought was just so simple and so brilliant. If you turn your fingers to face one another, rotating through the upper arms, and allow the middle finger to touch, the middle fingers to touch, just sort of having them kiss, and then root through the palms, swivel your hands back so the middle fingers now point to the top of the mat, and that is a way to help us measure our hands. So we usually cue shoulders over wrists, wrists under shoulders, but sometimes we're a little broader or more narrow than we need to be, and that really helps us to find our center. So root down through the palms. Start to float into your cow and cat. So drop the belly, let the heart extend forward as the gaze floats up. And exhale, press the earth away from you, round the spine, tuck the pelvis, tuck the chin. Inhale, press down, draw forward, finding a pause, right? And honoring that space before we start to exhale, rounding through the spine, creating the space through the vertebra. 2 more, really slowly so that you can feel everything. Nothing goes unnoticed. Feel the lower abs contract and draw up. And release back down. One more. And as you exhale here, send the hips back to the heels, child's pose. Root the forehead right down to the earth. Reach the arms long away from you, finding length through the arms and opening up the shoulders. Hollow out through the armpits. Honoring this shape as a place to which you can return anytime you need a little rest, anytime you need some space. Beautiful. Take one more big breath. And then from here, we're going to start to lift back into table position. Walk the hands off of the mat to the right side. Place your right hand over your left palm. And then sit the hips back toward child's pose, shifting more into that left hip. Let the Ajna chakra, your space between the eyebrows, rest on the earth. Open up deep into the left side body. We're down through the palms. We're down through the shins and the tops of the feet. Take one more big breath into the stretch. And then slowly start to lift back up. Walk the hands through center beyond the left edge of the mat with the left palm on top of the right. Sink back into your child's pose, reaching the hips more toward the right side. Feeling extension in the right side body and feeling space created through each breath. One more big breath in. And release. Nice. From here, we're going to lift the hips back up. Walk your hands back under the shoulders. Curl the toes under. Start to hover the knees from the earth. Melt your chest back toward your thighs and then start to reach the crown of the head forward. So the knees are bent, starting to build a little heat into the thighs, into the belly, feeling to awaken through the joints of the body. Slowly moving forwards and backwards. And then when you're ready, as your chest pressed back to your thighs, straighten the legs, downward facing dog. Take a big breath in, full breath out. One more inhale and exhale, letting the heels go. Maybe then you start to move into your dog. Where can you create space in the body by consciously releasing tightness and tension? Notice where it's been stored up all week. Maybe it's in your shoulders, in your neck. You start to shake the head yes and no. And then start to take a little walk with your feet up towards your hands. Find a forward fold at the top of the mat. As you inhale, hands come to shins. Find a nice flat back as you melt the shoulders away from the ears. And exhale, fold. Inhale, root down, rise up, come all the way to standing. Palms kiss overhead. And exhale, slowly make your way back into a fold. Take your time. Hands to shins, flat back, and melt. Do that once more. Inhale, rise up. So root down. You can bend the knees as much as you need to or want to. Reach up. Let the heart lead you back into a fold. Halfway lift and melt. So from here, and if you have a block, you're welcome to bring it into the practice. You don't need it, but you can bring it if you want. So from here, we're going to bend into the right knee. Bend into the right knee. Place your hand down, your right hand down onto the earth or on the block, and start to lift your left arm up to the sky. Maybe your gaze floats with your left thumb. If this is too much of a stretch into that left leg, because it can be intense, you can bend the left knee just a little bit, but a really deep bend into the right knee. Take a big breath in. And as you exhale, keep the legs as they are. The left hand comes down to the earth now, and the right arm bends up, or reaches up rather. Your right knee is still bent. This is a really deep thoracic twist here. So the hip stays stable, pointing down. We're just twisting through the spine at the rib cage. Big breath in. And release. Straighten both legs. Root down, rise up. Inhale, open up. Exhale, swan dive down. Let the heart draw you back to the fold. Halfway lift, flat back, hands to shins. And bow down. Once more. Inhale, rise up. Nice and slowly. Feel the energy coursing right through the body. And bow down. This time, deep bend into the left knee. Right leg stays straight. Plant your hand right in front of your left foot on the block or on the earth. Or if you don't have a block, you can use a stack of books. Start to peel the right arm up. So again, try to keep the hips stable. Just twisting through the spine here. Try to extend the shoulder away from the ear. Maybe the gaze floats up. Take a big breath in. And keeping the hips and the legs just as they are. Right hand down to the earth or block or books. And peel the left arm up. So you're going to feel a lot more limited in your mobility here, but you are stretching. So honor the stretch with breath. Breathe in. Breathe out. And release. Come back into a forward fold with the legs straight or semi-straight. Inhale, reach up. And exhale, fold. Nice. Halfway lift, flat back. Plant the hands, step back into a high plank. From high plank, lower the knees. Bend the elbows, lowering down chaturanga. As you lower, the ribs are grazed by the elbows. Inhale, press the earth away, baby cobra. Soften the shoulders from the ears here. Exhale, melt chest and chin back to the earth. One more, inhale, press into the earth. Feel the elbows point back toward the heels. And release. From here, we're going to press back into table pose. Curl the toes under, chest to thighs. Tip the tailbone high. Melt the heels low, downward facing dog. We're going to move real slowly through a sun salutation for starters. Just so your body can find its way and imprint these shapes. Just noticing how everything feels. No rush, no need to fill the space with busyness. Take a big breath in. Let the breath go. On the inhale, right leg rises, three-legged dog. Heel straight up to the sky, toe straight down to the earth. So we're lifting right through the glutes here, right through the hamstring. Take another breath. As you exhale, guide the right knee toward the nose and step the foot between the hands, finding a low lunge. So when you're in your low lunge, activate through that back leg, press through that back heel, and draw the heart forward. Take a big breath in. As you exhale, left foot steps to meet the right, forward fold. Inhale, press in, rise up. Feeling the spine grow nice and long. Exhale, fold. Halfway lift, hands to shins. And then frame the foot, step the left foot back, same side, low lunge, Anjaneyasana on the right side. Where can you draw forward? Maybe even start to heat it up a little bit by drawing the shoulders back, lifting the arms. Take a big breath in. And then frame the foot, step back to your high plank. You're at the top of a push-up. You can lower the knees or keep them lifted as you bend the elbows, heading down toward the earth, chaturanga. Inhale, press the earth away, soften the shoulders, cobra, maybe you just begin to straighten the arms. Curl the toes under, hips rise, downward facing dog. Take a breath in. Let your breath go. On the inhale, left heel rises, three-legged dog, hips are square. Feel this powered by your glute and your hamstring here. One more big breath. Keep the weight even in the palms as you draw the left knee toward the nose, gently stepping the foot between the thumbs, coming into your low lunge. Always the option to drop the back knee. We're just here to feel the opening through the hips. Maybe you lift the arms, open up through the heart. Take one more big breath. Then step the right foot to meet the left, forward fold, top of the mat. Inhale, root down, rise up. Beautiful. Feel yourself flourishing. Exhale, fold. Halfway lift, flat back. Plant hands, right foot steps back. Same side, low lunge. Again, feel free to power it up. Yes. Options, so many options. Take one more big breath. Then plant the hands, step back to your high plank. Lower down to your chaturanga. Maybe you stop halfway, then turn to the tops of the feet. Press the earth away, coming into your upward facing dog. Back to downward facing dog. Breathe. Take a few breaths here. Breathe in. Breathe out. Beautiful shapes. On the next inhale, look to the front of the mat. This time, yogi choice. You can either step or bend the knees. Take a little hop. Feet to hands. Rise all the way up. And as you exhale, goalpost the arms. Spread through the collarbones. Find a little back bend. Inhale, reach up. And exhale, bow. Halfway lift, flat back. Plant the hands, again, yogi's choice, either step back or maybe bend the knees. Take a little hop back to chaturanga. Inhale to your back bend. Exhale to downward facing dog. Breathe in. Breathe out. Once more, one more Surya Namaskar A. Look to the front of the mat. Walk, step, hop, arrive, however you'd like to. Rise all the way up. Exhale, open your heart. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, fold, let it all go. Inhale, halfway lift. Plant your hands, stepping or hopping, however you'd like to flow. Maybe you add things, maybe you take things away. Your journey is your own personal adventure. We are not judging. We're not judging ourselves. We're not judging others. We're just here to explore movement. Take a big breath in. Let a breath go. Meeting in downward facing dog. Bring to mind your intention. Allowing what is to be, creating space for it. Take one more big breath. Let the breath go. On the inhale, right heel rises, three-legged dog. As you exhale, shift shoulders over wrist, draw the knee forward, hover for just a moment in cheetah as you press the earth away. Then step the right foot between the hands and rise up high crescent lunge. So high crescent, we're pressing back through our glute and our hamstring, pressing back into that left heel, creating space in the hips. We're going to bring the hands right to the heart, extend forward and start to shift into our right foot, finding warrior three. So the beautiful thing about a home practice is, look, Mom, there's a wall. So if you want to use the wall to help you find some balance, it's right there. So for warrior three, it's a beautiful balancing shape. Lower that left hip just a little, but keep firing up through that back hamstring and glute. So the leg is lifted, but the hips are stable. Take one more big breath. And then release the ball of the left foot and twist to the right, hooking your left elbow outside of the right knee. Maybe you look up and over the right shoulder. And every inhale, create some space by lengthening the spine. And every exhale, twist deeper. One more breath. Nice. We're gonna unwind here. We're gonna lift up and then peel that left heel down, finding our way into a 5-pointed star. And I love this shape because it helps us to take up space. So anytime in your day when you're feeling a little deflated or you're feeling like something is trying to rob you of your voice or your courage, this is a beautiful shape to come back into to restore your presence, your personal power by just taking up space. So feel yourself opening up through the heart. Take another big breath. Look down at your left toe. We're gonna cartwheel the hands to frame the left foot. Step back into a high plank. We're making our way around the mat a little bit. High plank to low plank. Go through your vinyasa flow. Meet back at downward facing dog. So we're gonna work our way a little bit in a mandala so that we can shift perspectives and get out of this linear way of thinking. So we can look around a little bit, see this 360 life that we live. Look where we are feeling really crowded and where can we make some space. Take a big breath in, let a breath go. On the inhale, right heel rises, three-legged dog. As you exhale, step the right foot through, melt the left heel down and come right up into a warrior two. Warrior two. We're gonna dance a little bit, looking for that space. Flip the right palm, open up through the right side body, reversing your warrior. And exhale right into your extended side angle, opening up the left side body. Inhale, reverse. Exhale, extend. Two more. What space are you connecting with here? Is it in the body? Is it between the breaths? Is it creating space in your mind by simply tethering yourself to now rather than holding on to future outcomes? Beautiful. From here, we're going to come back to warrior two and then start to bend into your left knee. Gather the hip palms right at the heart center and come into your skandasana. So sink down into a low side lunge. Maybe you take your left hand in front of your left shin, right arm reaches up for a twist. You can also look for a bind if you want to wrap that right arm around looking for the left hip crease. Stay where you're comfortable. Invite sensation. Take one more big breath. And then both hands will come down to frame the left foot, low lunge. Step back to a high plank. Lower down chaturanga. Open up the heart once again. Feel expansive right through the front body. Back to downward facing dog. Beautiful. Breathe in. Breathe out. Releasing not only heat, but residue, toxins, whatever that has been living within that doesn't need to be there anymore. Anything you've been holding that hasn't served you well, let it go. Create some space. Let's take that on the other side. So inhale, left heel rises, three-legged dog. Exhale, cheetah pose. Hover for a breath, press the earth away, draw the knee up. Step the left foot between the palms, and then rise, high crescent lunge. So just, again, honor where you're rooted and honor where you're risen, where you lifted. Take a big breath in. Bring the hands to the heart. Start to shift into the left foot, warrior three. So warrior three is a pretty intense balancing shape. You're welcome to modify it by dropping the right toes down, but we're looking for extension through the spine. So keep reaching the crown of the head away from the tailbone. Bringing the hips to become level with one another, engaging into that right side glute and hamstring. One more breath. And then release the right leg down, come back into a twisted lunge. hooking the right elbow outside of the left. You can always open the arms here or take a bind. Find any variation that feels fun for you. Notice your breath. One more breath. Gorgeous shapes. We're gonna unwind, release the right heel down, come back into our 5-pointed star. Take a big breath in. Let a breath go. Soften the shoulders down through the back. This time we're gonna find a little goddess flow. So your heels are turned inward, toes slightly outward. Take a big breath in, and as you exhale, bend the knees, root the hips down toward the earth, squeeze the shoulder blades together. So lift through the crown of the head, and then exhale, root down through the tailbone. 2 more, big inhale. Full exhale. Last one, breathe in. And settle right here for 3 breaths. Maybe you move a little bit, make it dynamic, or maybe you stay still. 1 more breath. Beautiful. From here, look down at your right toes. We're gonna swivel and frame the right foot. Step back to high plank. So now that you're at the other side of the mat, lower down, chaturanga. Press the earth away, lift and expand through the heart. Back to downward facing dog. Breathe. Hips are lifting, heels are melting, heart is opening wide. Feel the rib cage expand with each breath. Beautiful. On the next inhale, left heel rises straight up, 3-legged dog. Step the left foot through, melt the right heel down. Feel rooted, then begin to cartwheel right up into your warrior 2. So you're spiraling externally through those hips. You're creating space across the collarbones. And then we dance. Once you're feeling settled, flip the left palm, reverse the warrior. Exhale, extended side angle. So at no point during this little flow are we collapsing. We're continuing to lift and then find that lateral flexion in the spine. So we lift and reach and float through 2 more rounds with your breath. Beautiful. It's so fun seeing all of the flutter of movement. It makes me feel like I'm with you live in the studio. Back into warrior 2, and then start to gather the energy into the palms. Palms right at the heart. Shift into the right foot, and we bow down, coming low to the ground in our Skandasana. So if Skandasana doesn't serve you well, if anatomically this is not accessible, you can come into a wide-legged forward fold and start to bend the knees from side to side. Otherwise, maybe you root down through the right arm. You can lift the left or wrap it around for a bind. Or take any variations that you enjoy here with your Skandasana. Keep feeling external rotation through that left hip. Really open up. 1 more breath. Gorgeous. Release your binds. Frame the right foot, low lunge. Step back to high plank. Lower down, chaturanga. Inhale, back up. Open your heart. We'll meet in downward facing dog. Breathe in. Breathe out. Beautiful. Look to the front of the mat. Bend the knees. Either walk or step or hop, arriving feet to hands. And your toe mounds can be touching or your feet can be slightly separated. We inhale up to Utkatasana, chair pose. Sink the tailbone nice and low to the ground. Create some space through the lower back, maybe a little tuck of the pelvis. Take 1 more big breath. Shift into the left foot and wrap your right leg over, coming into an eagle bind. And your right arm will weave under, crossing at the elbows, looking to find the palm connection through the palms or the backs of the hands. So we're squatting nice and low. We're lifting the elbows up and away. Create some space between the elbows and the face. This is another very empowering pose. So breathe deeply into it. 2 more breaths. One more big breath. And then we begin to rise. Lift that right knee up towards your chest. Wrap the hands, interlacing fingers in at the shin, and draw the knee up toward the chest. Stand up nice and tall. Soften the shoulders. One more big breath. And release. Nice work. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, fold. We're going to stay here for just a moment, taking a ragdoll. You're also welcome to take a toe bind if you like that variation, or a gorilla pose by sliding the hands under the feet. Otherwise, take opposite elbows in the palms. Play with any variation of bending or straightening the legs. Shake out the head. Flutter the lips. Let everything go. Come back to that space. Big breath in. Full breath out. Beautiful. Release the bind. We're going to bring those toe mounds back to touch or slightly separated. Sweep back up. Utkatasana, chair pose. Nice strong pose where we're rocking the energy back, right? So we don't want the knees tipping over the toes. We want the hip creases over the heels. And then shift the weight into the right foot. Left leg crosses at the upper thigh. And then the left arm weaves at the elbow underneath the right. Opening up wide across the upper back. Feeling nice and firm in the lower abs. Hips are squared. And we're breathing into the body here. Take one more big breath. You guys are awesome. We're going to unwind through the arms, press into the right foot, bring the left knee up, interlace in a different pattern right at the shin, drawing the left knee toward your chest, rising through the spine. Beautiful. One more big breath. And let it go. Nice work. Find your Tadasana back at the front of the mat. Big breath in. Exhale, fold. Halfway lift, hands to shins. Plant your hands, step or hop back, travel through a vinyasa flow, or go right to downward facing dog, or take a child's pose. What is it that you need right now? Big breath in. Full breath out. On the inhale, we lift the right leg high, 3-legged dog. As you exhale, hover forward, bringing the right knee toward the right elbow, shoulders stacked over wrists. Inhale, send it back up. And as you exhale, right knee to the left elbow. Extend the right leg out to the side, peel the left arm up, press the earth away, fallen triangle. So we're looking for a long line of energy, stacking the shoulders. Take a breath. And then right here, let your right hip come down to the earth. Ta-da! Nice. Bring your right palm, or your left palm, down underneath your shoulder, so that same alignment. And start to look over your right shoulder. If this is not intense enough for you, you can come down onto your forearms, finding an even deeper twist in the lower back. You can also melt all the way down if that feels good. And you'll notice that we're not only twisting in the lower back, but we're inviting a really deep stretch into that right side leg. So if it's too intense, shorten the stance by closing the legs a little bit. If it's not quite intense enough, really flex into that right foot and slide the toes higher. And then, whoa, then you'll feel it, I promise. Take one more big breath into your twist. Beautiful. If you're not on your palms, come to your palms, and we're gonna just sit right onto that right sit bone or that right hip and bend both knees coming into a pinwheel shape. We're gonna take a pinwheel pigeon here, which is a really gentle, accessible way to find pigeon in your body to stretch through your right side glute and your piriformis. But if this is too gentle for you and you wanna really amp it up and take your full pigeon, please go for it. But I'm gonna guide you in a pinwheel pigeon. So you have two options of folding. You can either fold right over your shin, or you can rotate and fold right over your knee. At no point should you be feeling any stress in your joints. We're just targeting the muscles that support your hip. So when you're ready, start walking away from you, and then melt your belly right down onto the fleshy part of the thigh, or folding right over your shin. If you're having any irritation in your left side hip flexor, straighten that leg. All right? So come on down. I'm gonna come check out and see what you guys are doing. Nice. Yeah, just honoring the body, breathing deeply into the musculature here. Beautiful. Take 2 more breaths. From that last breath, we're going to start pressing back up. Extend your left leg behind you. We're down through the toes. And send the right leg up to the sky, taking some circles into the hip. If you want to challenge yourself and float through a 3-legged plank, you're welcome to. High to low. When you're ready for your back bend, release the top of the foot to the earth to support your back. You always want to offer support. Back to downward facing dog. Nice. Breathe in. Breathe out. Inhale, left heel rises. Nice and slowly draw left knee to left elbow as the shoulders hover over the wrists. Contracting into that left side oblique. Send the left leg back up to the sky. Slowly draw left knee over to the right elbow. Then extend the leg out, coming to the edge of that left foot. Peel the right arm up. Fall in triangle. Try not to collapse that right shoulder toward the ear. Reach and extend as you press the earth away. Define gravity here. 1 more breath. And then slowly melt the left heel, or left hip rather, down to the earth. Bring that right hand down under the shoulder and gaze over to the left as you twist. So you decide your own adventure here. Maybe you stay on the palms. Maybe you come down to your forearms. What feels good? And maybe what feels good to you is a really intense challenge in the body. But what might feel good to you is a really more restorative stretch. So every day is going to be a little different. Every moment of the day is going to be different. That's why we have to create some space so we can be present for what is. Take 2 more breaths here in your twist. Full breath in, full breath out. Breaths change in the twist because of the compression, so we have to really work through it to find the fullness of the breath. And then we walk back up to our palms if you're not already there. Bend both of the knees coming into your pinwheel shape. So the left foot is up against your right thigh. And again, perhaps you know that you want to go all the way into your full Kapotasana. You're welcome to take it. If you want to stay right here, then either folding right over your shin, or I like to rotate and fold over the fleshy part of my thigh. I feel like that activates my piriformis a little bit more intensely. So find where you want to be walk, 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 and melt the chest all the way down, forehead toward the earth. You can always make a little pillow by stacking your palms, or stacking your fists rather, to catch. Or if you have a block, you can use the block. Keeping your mind right here, right now. Following the journey of the breath. Honoring the strong sensations in your body. Holding space for whatever arrives. 2 more breaths. Start to press back into your palms. Extend your right leg behind you. Send that left leg up to the sky. Chance to get some circling. Finding your full range of motion into that beautiful ball and socket joint of ours. We tend to move it in just one direction over and over. So enjoy the 360 right there in your hip. And then float forward, maybe with the leg lifted. Lower down very mindfully. Release the leg to support your back bend of choice. And then release the knees, retract hips to heels. Find your child's pose. Child's pose. What a wonderful space to arrive in, particularly when you're holding a lot of fluff, right? A lot in your mind. A lot of those little particles in your snow globe are just swirling all over the place. Your to-do list, your anxieties, your fears, your memories, your emotions, your expectations, it's all clouding our mental clarity. But when we come to a child's pose, or any pose that's grounding, it reminds us to just allow all that dust to settle so that we invite clarity into the mind. And in that space, we start to flourish with creativity, with curiosity, wonder, awe, and joy. So take a big breath in. Let a big breath go. Start to roll over onto your back. We have just a few moments for final shape before we settle into our Shavasana. So what does the body need? Maybe a happy laughing baby with the knees bent or straight. Maybe the body is craving an inversion. There's always legs up the wall, or taking a very safe plow if you have it into a shoulder stand. Maybe a little bridge pose. We didn't, other than our back bends in our chaturanga flow, we didn't do a whole lot into the back. So maybe finding some bridge poses. I want you to think about what it is that your body needs for about 6 breaths before we all come into a resting shape. So don't worry about trying to give it a name. Just do what feels intuitive to round out your practice. Two more big breaths. And we all will come together, unless you need to work through a counter pose that's safe for you, a fish pose or a child's pose for some of those inversions. Otherwise, bring your knees into your chest. Lift your head up toward the knees. Give yourself a really big hug. Such an honor to have you practice with us today, and I hope you feel that sense that you honored yourself with the practice by letting everything else go for the hour and focusing on you and your well-being. focusing on letting things go as well as letting things be, holding space for what is. So take another big breath as you squeeze, give yourself some love, some gratitude. And as you exhale, start to unfurl the body, letting yourself arrive back into a space of opening, to a space of receiving in your Shavasana. Once again, feeling all the spaces where the earth kisses your body, welcoming you, supporting and loving you unconditionally. Take a big breath in. Let a sigh out. Letting go of control of everything. And just letting yourself be. Long after our practice is complete, may you continue to honor the space between breaths, the space between doing and not doing, the space between your words and your thoughts and your actions, this space between your bites and your swallows and your sips. This space holds so much magic. It is where we truly are at our most natural, authentic state of just simply being. Start to welcome an awakening to the body, consciously deepening the breaths and moving into your physical self. Roll over to one side, finding a little seedling shape, the shape of new beginnings. A shape so familiar to us as it was the very first shape our body ever knew. And this is truly a rebirth, a rejuvenation, a restart. Let it be filled with space. Start to rise up to a comfortable seat. Invite your palms to press together. And you can even tent your knuckles a little bit, creating some space between the palms. Bring them right up to your heart. Know that I am so grateful for your presence and for the light that you shine so brightly in our community. Namaste. So again,